So web development, so it is the one what to use for developing the web pages. So here we talk about developing static web pages. So in general we used to call it as some front end. So in front end concern technologies, you will learn about front end concern technologies here. So here you can develop the static web pages uh, as well as dynamic web pages. So to develop the static web pages, we are using HTML, and to develop the dynamic web pages, you can make use of the JSP, ASP, and there are some advancements. When you want to add the programming language features, you can make use of their scripting. So here there are some varieties. If you want to add the Java language features, you can make use of the JavaScript. Okay, as of now, we are starting. There are some advancements in this JavaScript. They are React, Angular, etc. So as of now, let me start with the HTML. So at first, you have to know. So what is the template for this HTML file? How to write the HTML file? So you may take either Notepad or Notepad plus plus, and then in that you can type the code and then you can save that as file.html. So at first you should know, then you can open that in the browser to see the output. So at first you have to know what is the template for this HTML file. So we have to start the HTML file with HTML tag, and for every tag there would be an opening tag and a closing tag. So inside the HTML you can write mainly two sections, head, and there should be a closing tag also. And inside the head you can write like uh, maybe you can write what is the title for your page. Then if you want you can add the style to your file. And if you want to add the programming language features, you can make use of the script. So all these are written inside this head only. So title. So my first page, let me make this as my first page. So in this way, and after this head, you have to write body. So whatever you write inside the body, they will be displayed on the screen. So this is the template of the HTML file. So you have to maintain mainly two parts, head and then body. Inside the head, you can maintain title, style, script. So style is to define the styles for your web page, and script is to add the programming language features to your web page. And let us try to execute this one. So you have to write the code inside a notepad or notepad plus plus. So you take a notepad, so you take a new tab, new note, new file, and here you have to write the code. So you have to type the code like this in the notepad or notepad plus plus. Then you have to save this one in the desired location. So you go to some location and save this one as some file name .html, my first.html. So you have to place that in the double quotes. Otherwise, sometimes it may take that as text file. So now, if you want to open this, if you want to see the output of this file, you have to go to the location where you saved this file. So this is the folder where I saved the file. My file is first.html. So you just open this with any browser. So we have not written anything inside this one. So you look at this one, whatever we have written inside the title, so it is the same what you can see here. And whatever you write inside the body, it is displayed here. So let me write something in the body. So HTML in the sense hypertext. So HTML is one of the languages that we use for developing the web pages. And what is this HT? So HT in the sense hypertext. So hypertext in the sense, so it is not only the text, it is also includes text media. So that may be either audio or video. So you can add an image. So all these things collectively you can maintain in your web page. The collection of all this we can call as hypertext. And now let me write something here. So look at this HTML. So inside the body now we are writing a simple text. My first web page. Okay. So whenever you make any modifications, you have to save that. Control S or save. Then you go to your web page. So when you refresh, you can see. So we have written inside the body my first page. So if you want, you can give a background to your web page. So if you want to give a background to your web page, you can make use of the attribute here BG color. So BG color is the one using which you can give the background color for your web page. And here you can directly write the color or you can write some 6-digit code. So first two corresponds to red color, next two corresponds to green, and the next two corresponds to blue. So you know the hexadecimal numbering system. It starts with 0, then end with the F. So if you want to have the light colors, you can go for some 0, 1, 2, 3 like that. If you want the dark colors, you can go for some right side values. So you can give so now we have changed the value. So you can so now you refresh and check the effect. So look at this one. We have given some color. So its color now became like this. So you make this little bit light color. So try to change them as so it became. So in this way you can give the background color. As of now I am removing this color. It is I'm not using right now this one. And if you want to bring this one into some if you want to make this as heading, you can use some heading tags. So there are some heading tags like h1, h2, h3 up to so on h6. You can use variety of headings. And whenever you do the modifications, you just do this. So heading 1, this will make the text like this. And if you want to add some scrolling text, you can make use of the uh, tag called marquee. So in HTML we have a tag called marquee. So with the help of that you can create a scrolling text. So here whatever you write that will scroll. So that will be scrolling. So here we are creating some scrolling text. So here you have created the scrolling text with the help of the marquee. So you can see some text is scrolling. And next, suppose you want to create a. So in this one you can create a marquee, and if you want to create a paragraph, you can make use of the p tag. And uh, suppose I want to create an image, so you can make use of the img tag. So img src equal to, so you have to write the name of the file here, and you can close this, or inside the same you can here itself you can do this one. So you can mention the weight, and you can also write the height. So this will give the image on your web page. And suppose if you want to, so src specifies the uh, image where the image is present, that you can mention here. And width is the width of the image, and height is supposed to be the height of the image. Let me try with one. So here we have an image. So you better write the file, the image, in the same location where the file is present. Otherwise, you have to mention the full path. So I have brought the image A into my folder. So here I am giving a.jpg. Let this be my file, and width some 100, think you need not give the single quotes. Let us try if there is any problem. We remove this one. So if you want, you can close the tag like this. So without writing separately another for closing, you can do the same here. So here I have mentioned what is the image to be displayed and what should be width of this one and what should be height of this one. We have written all these things here. And now let us check this. It displayed an image, but there's some problem I think. Okay, so you have made the height and width as 100 and 200. Let us make this one somewhat wider. So in this way you can display the image on the screen with the help of the img tag. You can set the height and the width of the image. And when you want to show the video, so if you want to you can, there is also an option like instead of using src you can make use of the dyn src. So dyn src that will let you create the, that will let you bring the video onto your screen. If you want to have video you can do like that. And now let me tell you another thing. Suppose if you want to create an if you want to create a table. So how can you create a table? So to create the table you can make use of table tag. So you know that for every tag you have to maintain a closing tag. So here you are creating a table. So inside the table you can create rows. So for every row you have to create a tr tag. So tr means table row. So here I am creating row 1 and I am creating another row, and here for, so let us see what will happen if you write like this. So if you want to, so inside this you can you have to create the cells. So td, so td corresponds to a cell, and we are creating here two cells. So look at this one, it created a table so with cells, uh, and if you want you can view the border I think. Look at this one, here you got a table with the border size 1. So here you have two cells. So for, because of the first td we got this one, in the second td we got this one, and this is the second row. Here we have the values for that. In this way you can create the tables. If you want to make the first one as heading, maybe you can try th. Let us check this ones. You see the difference? So instead of writing td here, I have used the th. Now it is made as the table heading. So in this way, you can create the table, and depending, suppose if I want to have the break. So if I want to have the break between these two gap, if you want to bring the gap, you can use br tag. So this br here I'm writing opening and closing in the same one. So this will bring the gap between them. You can see here. So I have seen there is some gap introduced between them because of the break tag. So in this way you can create the table. And if you want to create the list, you can make use of the. So here you can create two entities. Two there are actually two types of lists: ordered lists and unordered lists. So you can create the list with the help of the tag called UL. So UL represents the unordered list. So in the Word document, you might have seen some bullets. So you will be getting something like this. So inside the UL, you can write the list items. For example, let us write some subjects. So this is one entry, and so I'm creating some list. So you have to write the UL, and inside that you can write the list items. LI means list item, UL means unordered list. So for them, it will be creating some list like this. So here you give some break. Let us see the list created here. So with the help of the UL, we created an unordered list, and it is having two entries in it. Now let us create an in the same way you can create ordered list. So an ordered list you have to mention type. So create a break. So if you want to create an ordered list, you have to go with the tag OL. So there should be a closing for this OL, and inside this also you write the same allies. So now see the difference what will happen. So in case of unordered list you can see some bullets like this, and in case of unordered list you can see the ordered list. It might be using some numbering or decimal numbering system, something like that. We can mention that with the help of the type attribute. So type, let us make this one as capital A and see what will happen. If you make the type as capital A, it will be giving capital A, B, something like this. So by default, it is giving the numbers like 1, 2. And now let us go for. So usually what you will be doing like sometimes you are asked to register for some training program, something like that. So they could be displaying you some form and you have to enter some details in the form. Then you have to submit that. So you might have seen like that. So if you want to create a form, you can make use of the. So how to create a form? Let us see that. And so let us look at this form controls. So if you want to create a form, you can make use of the form tag. So if you want to create the form, you can make use of the form tag like this. And inside this form, you can use. So maybe now I'm trying to create some registration form. I want to have some heading like this. So I want to create some registration form, and inside and I will be adding this in some h2. So I'm adding this inside the h2. So I just told you that you can make use of the headings from 1 to 6, so like in the same way. So now we are using some heading 2, and now let me create the field 1. So name, and just beside that I want to have a text box. So if you want to have a text box, you have to use some input tag. The type of this one should be text. And every tag, maybe you need to read the value entered in. I mean, let us see what will happen. Now look at this. We are trying to create a registration form. So this is H2 and this one H1. You can have just seen. So here the name followed by a text box. We got this text box. So you can enter the value here. So input type equal to text, and that given you this kind of text box. So now you are entering some value in this text box. So we can read the value entered in the text box from JavaScript or from some other file. So for that you have to give here some identifier. Using that you can. So every student is given a register number. Using that you can identify a student. In the same way, every tag is given some name. Using that you can identify the value. Using can identify the value. You can identify. You can read something. You can identify this tag and you can read with the help of this name the value entered in the text box. In the same way, I am creating here some other field. So you have to end this. So here I am ending it like this. So I am creating another text box. For this also I am giving an ID. Where this close shows the end of the tag. Now let us see what will happen. So now we got another field. And how can you get this into the next line? So you give here some break so that you can get that in the next field, next line. So now we got this in the another the next line. And if you want to make this somewhat better, you can place them in the table so that they could be very used. They could look better, or you can use another break. Let us try to write one more break so that there would be some more gap between them. So instead of pressing every time the refresh, you can make use of the F5 button. So we are creating this one here, and then you can create the radio buttons. So you can create the radio buttons with the help of the input tag, and you can create the checkboxes, and you can create the drop down menus. Okay, so now let me show you how to create the. Suppose I want to create the. Again, you give here break tags. It would be better. And now I am going to create the radio buttons. So with the help of the. So now I am trying to read the gender of the user. So with the help of the input type equal to radio, you can create the radio button. Okay, I'm making the value of, and you give the name also for this. So you give the same name for a set of radio tags belonging to the same. Let us write the same here also. And now we are making this one as female. Now let us see what will happen. So you got the radio button like this. So gender followed by input type equal to radio, name equal to R. So you can see the radio buttons. You can select only one at a time. With the help of the input type equal to radio, you can create the radio buttons like this. And then you can create the checkboxes with the help of the input type equal to check. So with the help of the. And now how to create the checkboxes. For example, you want to read the skills of the user, then you can create the input tag with the type equal to checkbox. So type equal to checkbox. This will let you create a checkbox, and you give the name for this one. Let the name be some C. Maybe whatever the skills is having, you have to read that. Okay. So So we are creating some more checkboxes. So we are writing here Java, then Python. So you give the we have made the name of the. So now we have created four checkboxes, and let us see this one. So because of that we got the checkboxes. So four checkboxes we got here, and better you write the break so that you can understand that clearly. Okay, now in this way you can create the checkboxes. So you can select multiple checkboxes. It is possible with that, and this one only one you can select at a time. But here you can select multiple, and then how to create the drop down. So in some cases you might be able to see the drop down menus. So how to create the drop down menus? So to create the drop down menu, you have to go for a button, something called select. So with the help of the select, you can create the drop down menus. So if you want, to get the options inside that, you can give the option. So with the help of the option, you can create the options inside this one. Um, so I'm giving here some options. So to give the options, you have to use the option tag.
అబ్బాయి అబ్బాయే కదా కృష్ణ కదా
Krishna record checks. So to create the options, you have
ఆన్లైన్ కదా
to create the options, you have to use the option tag. Now let us see what will happen. Let us create a give here a break so that it could be somewhat clear. Give two breaks. Now let us see the result of this one. So look at this. Select has given this. So here because of the options, you got the options here. Okay, and based on the options you want to maintain in the drop down menu, you can give the number of options inside the select. And if you want to create a button, you can make use of the. So with the help of the select, you can create the drop down menu, and you can create the submit button or reset button with the help of this. So you can create a button by making the type value as button, or you can create the submit button. Excuse me. And if you want to reset the values, you can use the reset button also. When you make the value of this one as a reset, it will reset the values that you have entered. Now let us see the effect of these tags. Look at this one. Because of that, we got the submit and reset buttons. So here you give the two breaks. Okay, now you got the submit button, then reset button. And what should happen when you click on this submit button? So now let us see how that reset button works. So I assume like I've entered the value. I selected some screens, I've selected some codes. Then pressing on the reset button, it will reset all the values. Okay, this is how reset button works. And let us see how the submit button works. So what should happen when you click on the submit button that you can write here. So here you can write action. So action equal to you can write here, and here you have to mention some other attribute called method. If you want to send the values to server, you can make the value of this one as post. Otherwise, you can write it as get. So based on the requirement, you can write like that. So action, what should happen when you click on this button? Suppose you want to navigate to another file. If you click on this button, then can write. For example, in our folder we have some other files left. Some there is a file a.html. Okay, now let us try to display this a.html. What is there in the a.html? Let us see that. Blank page. So this is my.html. So when you click on the submit button, it should navigate you to t.html. Let this be the case. So here we are writing t.html. Now let us see the effect of this one. So when you click on the submit button, it should take you to t.html. Okay. So this is how you can write the action also. If you want, you can also execute the function inside the script. Okay. So I will continue in the next class. As of now, let me stop this.